Hello and welcome back to Coffee with Craig, where we talk about all things firearms related, and culture, politics, movies, news, you name it. We talk about it right here. So thank you so much for joining us and for liking and sharing these videos so that your friends can join in the conversation. Also want to remind you, please support our sponsors, Sacramento Black Rifle and Sparks Black Rifle. They not only believe in helping to facilitate your constitutional right to keep and bear arms, but they support the organizations that help fight for that right. So please support them. Find them on Facebook and Twitter. That's Sacramento Black Rifle and Sparks Black Rifle. Also want to remind you, FPCgear.com. It is the place to get all of the coolest Second Amendment advocacy gear, promoting the Second Amendment and looking good doing it. All of the most updated stuff, including code is freespeech.com. Code is freespeech.com. That's you guys know that t-shirt. We're fighting for free speech. We've got Can't Stop the Signal. We've got tons of stuff. We got the Gadsden flag t-shirt. All of those are there at fpcgear.com. Everyone, folks, these things are selling like hotcakes. You want to have them. And know that every penny that you spend will go right back into our fight for the constitutional right to keep and bear arms. So please go ahead, support our efforts and look good doing it. That's fpcgear.com. All right. Speaking of the First Amendment or the Second Amendment, obviously, you know, the right to protest is probably one of our most fundamental rights, part of our free speech right. Well, the March for Our Lives crowd decided that they were going to make their voice heard. This time by going after the NRA, those mean, nasty, evil gun lobbyists, and telling them that they need to stop standing in the way of gun control, of reasonable gun control laws. Anyway, here's common sense. I forget to use the word common sense, gun control laws. Anyway, but it was actually a very, very interesting story. So check it out. Here's the story on it real quick, and we'll talk on the flip side.
People on both sides of the gun debate gathered outside the National Rifle Association headquarters in Fairfax, Virginia yesterday. NRA sashay away! Demonstrators calling for gun reform made their voices heard. They debated with Second Amendment supporters during the March on the NRA protest. They gathered to challenge the group's resistance to gun control measures.
My daughter Jamie was shot with an AR-15 at school. I will not go away. I will continue to be relentless. We will break that lobby's grip on our legislators, and we will win.
Now, the event was organized by March for Our Lives, a movement formed after that deadly shooting at Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida.
So as you can see, they pretty much tried to make it sound like, oh, well, this was just a no big deal, no brainer. There was no problem because everyone here, all of their arguments, they want common sense gun control, right? They want common sense gun laws that will help protect us, except to say that, well, not everything that it is that they want is necessarily common sense gun control. In fact, some of it is, well, very, very extremist, kind of, I would say almost hateful type of stuff. But here's what's at least a couple of the protesters there really were trying to push as their agenda.
I believe in the ban of all guns. I don't think it's necessary for civilians to carry around firearms and things that can kill people in an instant of a second.
Wearing your giant penises for the whole world to see!
I do. I don't think civilians need guns at all.
Do you have anything to say about that?
I did. I most certainly did. They got their Second Amendment rights. I got my rights. Open carrying in a crowd like this is a challenge, and it's legal.
It's legal.
It's legal. And they have tiny little micro penises.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So they had to wear their giant penises for the whole world to see.
I am Amy, and I believe that we should repeal the Second Amendment.
Hey, could you say I'm freedom's safest place?
What is it?
I'm freedom's safest place.
I'm freedom's safest place.
Yeah, so as you can see, it goes beyond just common sense, quote unquote, common sense gun laws. Their desire is to basically repeal a fundamental constitutionally enumerated right. Now, why do they want to do that? Well, they say it's to make us all safer. The problem is that when you dig a little deeper and you actually look into how they believe this is going to make us all safer, a big, huge part of it is rooted in ignorance as to exactly what these firearms are and how these firearms work, as demonstrated by this series of interviews.
I'm Linda, and I agree with banning fully semi-automatic guns, definitely.
What's a AR-15?
From my understanding, anything that has automatic loading and refiring is something that can kill more people more quickly.
Capacity. I think it separates the capacity, how much damage you can do and how fast.
Exactly.
So it's your ammunition that separates and makes a semi-automatic automatic.
Let's look at cars, for example. When you get into a car crash, are you going to blame the car? Probably not.
What is a bump stock?
Oh man, dude, you're really asking me.
Okay, so let's go to the next one.
What's the matter with your biology?
All right, so clearly we're dealing with a group of folks who don't know what they're talking about. Now, these are folks you saw, they had the orange, every town shirts on. They had the Mom Demand Action shirts on, and they felt, the interesting thing was they felt totally righteous and righteously indignant in their ignorance. In their ignorance, they felt like, well, I don't have to know anything because I know it all. So I really don't have to have a knowledge base on firearms in order to tell you that, well, we need to ban them and we need to get rid of them. But probably of all of them, the most interesting and honestly the scariest was this particular lady. Now I'll let you hear what she had to say and her perspective on on the fundamental human right to defend oneself. Let check out what she had to say on this.
I just got you on the camera.
Yes, a gun ban is absolutely what's necessary. I think that we need to start from scratch with the whole gun issue. You know, we have people who think that it's okay to kill an intruder into their house. People who think that it's okay to kill an intruder into their house. You know, if a intruder in your house came before a judge, they would not get the death penalty. Wouldn't happen. So we need to have a whole different mindset reset.
Shame, 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 shame.
All right, so let's get to this point. So someone comes into your home, breaks into your home. You don't know who they are. You don't know why they're there. We don't know what kind of harm they've come into your home. She thinks that someone who breaks into your home, you would be wrong for shooting someone who is in your home. Let's say they're in your child's bedroom. They're in your child's bedroom, over your child's bed. You would be wrong for shooting that individual? Is that what she's trying to say? She's trying to say if that individual went before a judge, they wouldn't get the death penalty. Well, first of all, you wouldn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm really about to lose my stuff here real quick. Understanding that you don't have to wait until someone actually kills you or kills somebody before you have a right to defend yourself with whatever force is necessary to end that threat. But this is the mentality that they have. I guarantee you that if there was someone that were in her house, that if there was someone that were over her, I'm going to guess her grandchild, I guarantee you that she would do everything possible to end that individual's life. See, what it is she doesn't want it to happen with someone, it's someone else's house, because clearly someone else's life, someone else's family is not nearly as important as her family. But this is the attitude that these folks have. Their attitude is, well, my family is sacrosanct. My family is sacred, but yours? That's what they're saying. Your family? Nah, because you obviously don't know how to, how to act. You don't know how to be as a citizen in our good country. But I wanted to share these with you guys because I found them to be hilarious. These were videos that were all taken by the someone who was at the NRA, the march on the NRA. But this is the mentality of the individuals that are on the other side. And so when they say, well, let's sit down and have a conversation, because you keep hearing these young people say, well, we just want to sit down and have a conversation. Understand, these are the people that we're having a conversation with. These are the people you want me to sit down and have a conversation with. People who can't even tell you what a bump stock is, but they want to ban it. People who can't tell you what an automatic rifle or what an AR-15 is, and yet they want to ban it. People who don't believe in the fundamental human right to self-defense, and yet they want to eliminate the only thing that protects our fundamental right to protect ourselves. They want to eliminate that altogether. But they want to sit down and they want to have a conversation. They want to ban a firearm that is hardly ever used in crime. Right? They want to have a background check that they don't even know how is going to function or operate. This is all part of what they want to conversate about. And I'm like this, look, here's the thing. If you want to have a conversation, then we at the very least have to operate from a similar knowledge base. In other words, if we're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation, you're going to have to be willing to accept the fact, you march for our livers, that you don't know shit, that you don't know anything, and that you need to learn. And then you need to listen and learn about, how about basic firearms, understanding firearm policy and how it works, understanding some of the fundamentals behind why we have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms and what that means. But no, we're in a day and age where the mainstream media, the CNNs and the MSNBCs and the liberal Democrats all want to tell us we need to listen to the youth. Why do I need to listen to young people? I get it. Yes, I believe, yes, we should listen to youth when they know something. But when they are willing to knowingly, and when you are willing to allow them to operate in ignorance, I'm sorry, I don't need to listen to what ignorant people have to say. It bears no weight. When your opinion is ill-informed, it's not an opinion worth listening to. The fact that you and the mainstream media and the people in Hollywood and the left wing of this nation give ill-informed, uninformed opinions credibility is your problem. Because when we sit and we have a debate, when we have a real conversation, like I had a conversation with a young man the other day who talked about how, well, the NRA doesn't care about the 15th Amendment. They don't care about people getting out and voting. I'm like, what do you think drives FPC and the NRA? What do you think makes us work? It's not the money. The money is a small part. It's the millions of people who are informed by our organizations, that get information about firearms, firearms safety, firearms policy and legislation, that get information about how politicians are voting and why they're voting that way, and then go to the polls and hold them accountable, that then go to those politicians' websites, and they, in some cases, give money to the pro-gun politicians, and they give money against the anti-gun politicians. Trust me, if there are groups that know and get and understand the 15th Amendment, it's gun groups. You won't find, there aren't many areas where you will find single issue voters on the right who are so wholly committed as they are when it comes to the Second Amendment. So please, stop operating in ignorance. If you want to have a conversation, those of you who want to keep our community safe, if you really want to have a conversation, do me a favor, educate yourselves first. Then we can sit down and have a conversation when you have taken the time to inform yourself and educate yourself so that you are not operating from a position of ignorance. Because at this moment in time, young folks, at March for Our Livers, you have simply been educated into imbecility. And I do not feel like debating or discussing with imbeciles. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. We very much appreciate you guys tuning in and for being a part of the Firearms Policy Coalition. If you haven't joined, join FPC.org. It's real simple. Join us, help us, and support us as we fight for your right to keep and bear arms. Remember, we are the home in the fight for civil rights. Got to use them or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.